Welcome to our Getting Started webinar. We will be reviewing the page ladder, how to add fonts, setting up the ReplayIt private photo submission account, and how to transfer material from a 2022 account to the current year. You will be able to find the information I'm covering in the Memory Book online manual under Design and Creation. This webinar will be approximately 20 to 30 minutes long. We're getting the kits out this week and next week, so you should be getting those very soon. And you'll find all this information then in the coil-bound manual that we've added in there. If you've just joined us, don't forget you can type any of your questions you might have in the chat bar, and then I will go over those when we get finished. You should receive an email that has a link to your Memory Book account. If not, you can go to memorybook.com, our company website, and up in the top left-hand corner, here's Memory Book online login. You can click there. It's going to take you to the login screen. Let me close some of these tabs so that stays cleaned up. This is our 2023 year, so in the drop-down, you want to make sure that's showing. Now, if you want to go to last year's book, you would obviously choose 2022 and then use the job number and password that you had for last year. But I'm going to go ahead and enter in my current information for this year. And I've got it to where my Chrome has saved it for me. So when you first log in, it's going to take you here to the welcome screen. And this is just a countdown clock here. Now on your account, it will actually have the due date and how many hours and days you have. Don't let that panic you. If you need to change that, you need to visit with your customer rep and maybe modify that date if you need a little more time. On your total pages here, this is going to show you what's started and what's in progress and so on. This is my demo account, so I've been in here and kind of played around with the pages and things. So that's why not all the pages are not started. In this area, you can set up some upcoming events. And in here, it will probably tell you when your cover is due. So get the cover submitted by November 15th. And then in the taskbar, you can also add tasks here. Say if you're scheduling meetings and things, you can put tasks in here that you need to keep track of. And you can, when you email your committee, then they can look here and see what some of the upcoming events are. Your tagged images, if you're tagging all your activity images, it's going to have how many images you have and how many are tagged. And this is just a brief overview of your image library. So to get started to the page ladder, you'll hit your plan and you'll go to page ladder. And this is how your pages are going to be laid out in your book. So page 1 is going to be by itself over on the right-hand side. So the back of the cover would be here on this left-hand area. And so pages 2 and 3 would be opposing, 4 and 5, 6 and 7. So your even pages on the left and your odd pages on the right. And this color coding, that is kind of the key that will tell you if the page is started, if it's in progress, if it's been submitted, and you can look over here to see what those colors represent. Now, once you get everything submitted, you won't have any more buttons on the side of the thumbnails of the pages, and all the borders on the pages will be black, so you won't have any options that you can change on that. You'd have to call us and have us unsubmit those pages. At the top of the toolbar here, there's a print button. So when you click on that, when you click print all, it's going to create a PDF of all your pages. So this is a good way if you wanted to send a PDF or you need to save a copy of the book so that you can have others proof it or check it. So you would print all, and it'll create a PDF that you can save to your computer and either print out or send it to someone. It's going to be low res, so you wouldn't want, to print from this as a main copy. You can also print the page ladder. Under this little drop down are some actions. As you go along, you'll be completing and submitting your pages. So you can do that through here. So if you wanted to select a couple of pages to mark it complete, you would click in the little square, select it, and then you could click complete. I'm not going to do that because those pages aren't finished, of course. Now, if you wanted to lock pages, you can also do it quickly through here. If you wanted to choose all the pages at once, you could click this little box right here. And of course, it tells you how many pages you've got selected, and it adds a check mark here in this box. I'm going to uncheck that for now. A display range, say you had a whole bunch of pages and you just wanted to see a few at a time, you can come down through here and you can choose which page range to view. I believe that would also work with the PDF when you were printing them. You could choose a page range. Down here in the teal colored bar, now unless you don't intend on using this, don't exit out of it because that option will go away and you won't be able to get it back to view it and use it if you wanted to. But if you click load last year's page designs, here in the page ladder, we have an area where you can organize your pages. So in this section, I have kindergarten typed here. So if you had information loaded in here last year on last year's book, if you click load last year's descriptions and sections, it's going to move all that information forward to this year. So that's a good way to get started quickly, because then if you wanted to change your pages, you can always move them around, or you can just change the information in the box that this description or section is in. So if you needed this to be like the grade, the class, you could just go in and modify your title or whatever you have it described as or section. If you do a lot of those changes, you need to come here and click Save All, or it won't maintain that change that you've just done. Now load last year's page designs, and if you're a returning customer, you kind of want to follow the page ladder or the designs that you had last year, but you want to modify the themes or the elements that are on the page. You'll just click load last year's page designs, and all the templates will flow onto these pages exactly like they were when you submitted the book. All your image boxes will be back to the default. They'll be empty, and your text will also go back to the default text. So you'd have to type headings and any information that you had in other text boxes. In this area, this is where you'll also assign pages to your staff. Before you can do that, though, you have to go in and you have to create staff users. So if you have a committee and you're assigning pages to different ones, or you have different people you want to do different tasks, you'll go in here and you'll create staff users. So you'll click Add Staff. You'll type in the information, their first name, last name. You'll create a username and password for them, so you'll kind of want to keep track of that. If you want to go back in here and see this password, you won't be able to. You'd have to reset it for them and create a new one. You'll want to put their email information in there so that if you email the whole committee, that email address pops up and everybody gets the email that you want to receive that. Now under the role, we've got advisor, editor, and staff. An advisor is the highest level of access to the whole book. So if you have a committee and they're mostly students, you don't want to give them advisor access, because as an advisor, they're the ones that go in and submit the pages and complete them, and they have the final approval on the pages. So I would probably give your yearbook team a staff status, and that way they can't submit pages or unlock pages or change anything once you've gone in and locked them or completed them. That has to be done by the advisor. So if you want to kind of control what the team does, you'll want to give them staff status. An editor has a little bit more privileges than the staff. So if you had someone maybe that's kind of one of the more responsible students, I would give them the editor status, and then they can go in and do a few more things and oversee the book with you. Now, if you want a list of those roles and what all their privileges are, you can go to 167 in the manual, and it'll explain those. So once you've created that, you'll click Save, and then they're going to show up here in the list. And these are the different staff members that you can assign to pages. You can, if the student is done creating their pages, you can always make them inactive. You can always edit their information. So you'd go in here and you could change their password, change their email, change their role even, just whatever you needed to do with that. And you can also delete them. If you want to view activity on the book by your different staff members, you can go in here and it's going to tell you the username and the role that they are and some of the things that they've taken care of. It'll have a brief list and the date. So maybe if you need to track back to something, you can filter through the date here and kind of see who did what. You can always export that to Excel too. Okay, so now that we have the staff members created, you'll go back to your page ladder, and I'm going to assign page 2 and 3. So if you click here in behind the word staff, it comes up and you click on the drop down. You can choose who you want to work on those pages. So if you have assigned a page to each different staff member, then when they log in, they're going to have their own login. They won't be able to access any of the other pages. They can see them, but they won't be able to edit them. Once you do that, you want to click Save All. And so you would go down through all your pages and choose the staff members that can work on these pages. Now, if you wanted 2 people to work on it, there's 2 staff options here so you could choose 2 different people to be assigned to the same page. Okay, the next thing I want to go over is how to add fonts. There's a couple of fonts already loaded in the program. They're pretty basic, but if you wanted to choose some other fonts, the advisor has to go in and do this. You want to keep in mind what you're going to use those fonts for. If they're for headlines, you want something kind of bold. You can go down through here and you can view the fonts in the right-hand side. And if you like those fonts, then you can turn it on here and it'll turn purple. Then when you go into your program to design your pages, these options will show up in the drop-down. And you also want to keep in mind if you're choosing fonts for the names, you want something that's pretty crisp and will show up on a background if you're adding backgrounds. That's the one thing that we put books on hold for, or we end up having to modify just a tiny bit, is the background or the text. You can't read it on the what's on the page. So you want to keep that in mind when you're designing. If you want to see all of the fonts in the manual, they're on page 178. No, 235. And then the ones that kind of complement each other, maybe you wanted one kind for a headline and something else that would be good for subheadings and whatnot. There's a page there that'll show you some complementing fonts. In the styles here, you can create different styles. So if you wanted to create a particular style for all your headlines, you'll click on styles and add styles. You can name your, I'm going to call this one class headlines. And I'm just going to leave it in the headline category. And I want it to show up every time I drag it over to the page. Pretty large. I'm going to choose 32 and have the normal attributes and save. So now when I go to a page, I can just click on class headline and drag it to the page, and it'll be the size and the font that I had picked for that. And that speeds things up and makes it a little bit more convenient to create your pages. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is the ReplayIt. Now the ReplayIt private photo submission, if you have a yearbook team and you want everybody to submit their pictures, or if you want all the teachers to submit their pictures that they take throughout the year, you can create this separate website, and then they'll just have access to upload pictures or images, and they won't be able to see the pages or work on any of the pages. They'll just go into the image library. So you'll go down through the list here. You want to enable the site. Click that. You want to choose a year and a date for it to start. So we're going to choose 2022. And let's say I'm going to make it active the 19th. My book is due in April, so I'm going to have it turn off in March. So we need to choose 2023 here. And I'm going to turn it off March 5th. Oops. And then I don't need to change this number. Do you want the site enabled? And then I'm going to click save. So now whenever, if you try to test this site, it's not going to be turned on until the 19th. So you won't be able to test the site until it's actually official. This is the link that you would send to your team so that they can access this, and they can log in then and start submitting images. Now when they start submitting images, they're going to come in here in your image library, and that's under Create, Image Library. They're going to show up here in the inbox ReplayIt. So you would see the images here. Now it just kind of lands everything lands in this one folder. So you'll maybe need somebody on your team to help sort those out. So you would want to create a folder down here under Activity, and then you can move those images down into that folder, and then they could sort them into subfolders for you if you needed help with that. But this is a good way to collect baby pictures. If you maybe have a graduating class, you want to put the baby picture with their graduating picture. This is a good way to collect those. Now, if you have a staff member that logs in and they say, I can't see the inbox ReplayIt, it's because the advisor has access to this and not the staff. Okay, also I wanted to show you, if you have images that you want to use from last year, you'll need to log into last year's book, and whatever folder they're in, say this Candidates folder, I want to move that forward to next year. You'll select the folder and you'll click 2024, and it puts an arrow on the folder. And so then when you log into this year's book, you're going to find it here under My 2022 Images, and the whole folder has to be moved forward. And then you can actually select your images and move them down into a current folder so that you have access to those. The next thing I want to show you is if you are wanting to use a template from last year. If you've saved templates last year, then they're going to move forward here, and they'll be under the Designs tab, under My 2022 Templates. And so all of these templates are ones that I've saved from last year's book. So you can just click and drag them over to the page, and you're good to go. Now this works well maybe if you have a baby page that sometimes schools will put a baby page on there and they want you to guess who the baby picture belongs to. It saves the layout for you, and if you have kind of an intricate template, this is a good way to go. And it also saves the text like it was on the page, so it won't default it back to the Latin or the default text filler. Okay, I think that's all I needed to cover today. I do want to remind everyone to be sure to send in your class photos on CD. Send us your link or the photos CD so that we can get those uploaded for you, and tell us how you want them sorted. Let us know if you want them sorted by class or by grade or by room number, so that we can get those uploaded for you. If you don't send the disc in to us or the link and you all upload them yourselves, the images won't be tagged and you won't be able to use the flow feature. And that makes it easy to create your class pictures or class pages. Let me look at the questions here. Okay, on the countdown clock, are we advisors able to set a decoy deadline earlier than the actual deadline to pick up the pace for students? That is put in there by the information that you guys have given us on when you need the book and stuff. So technically, no, we wouldn't be able to change that. And then, is this Zenzel font available? I'm not sure. I would have to look through the manual and see if it's available or in the fonts category here. We'll just search for it here. And it looks like it is not available. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is being recorded. Do my faculty colleagues need to create ReplayIt accounts, logins in order to submit images? No, they do not. Now that I'm pretty much done with the information, I'll just click here on the link. If you send them that link, this is exactly what it's going to look like. And there's going to be a long number that they're going to need to type in here. I don't think I have this saved correctly. I think the number we need is this one right here. Well, it's not going to cooperate today for me to just select that number. Let's try to see how this works. I'll have to work with that and Now, if you click on the flyer, this is a flyer that you can put a submission date in and the link to the login here. So you're just going to have to kind of mess with that. It used to be a long number, and maybe I need to type that number in. I'm not sure. So I don't work with that every day, so I'm not sure on that. But no, they do not need to create an account. This will be just how they would log in. Is the ReplayIt the only way to load photos into the memory book library for student use? No. If you have your team, your kids, if you want them to upload images, you'll just go here to your image library and you'll go to the folder that you want to upload it to. And you can create folders in here, and that's going to be in the next webinar. But you'll click upload, and then you'll just navigate to wherever your images are, or click and drag them, and then they'll show up here in the folder. So we have to send our pictures via CD to you, for example, senior and junior pictures. If you are wanting to flow the pictures on the page, like portrait pictures, you'll want to send them to us on the CD or the link so that we can upload them for you. If you upload them yourself, they'll be here in the portrait section, and you would create a folder, but you'd have to tag each image so that they'll flow over on the page in alphabetical order. It kind of depends on what you're using them for, or how you're using them. Okay, where can I access this recording? At the end of the week, we have another one on Thursday. And so at the end of the week, we'll send out a link that you can access this recording. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope this webinar has helped to make the getting started process not feel so overwhelming. Please join us next week for Working with Portraits. We will be showing you how to organize your class portraits so you can use the auto flow function to build class pages. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Hi, just one more question in the chat.
Okay. Let's see. Do we need a Google email to use the Google Drive upload feature? You would need to have a Google Drive set up for yourself or your team, and then you can access it through here. I hope that helps and makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I just didn't know if the account was already associated with, for example, a Microsoft Outlook email, whether that will block me from connecting to a Google Drive account.
I don't believe so. No. As far as the program, you're going to go in, and of course, I think you have to tell your Google Drive, give it permission to access it and things, your pictures. But
Okay.
I don't work with that a lot, so I think, but I know your current email won't interfere with it.
Got it. Thanks so much. And then you said that this would be uploaded, the recording of the webinar would be uploaded where at the end of the week?
We're going to send you the link or so that you can access it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Also, is there a deadline by when to send you the CDs?
No, that's entirely up to you guys.
Right.
I would suggest waiting till you get your retakes finished, and then you're not sorting through a lot of doubles, you know. Um,
Right.
and but no, if your book is submitted, say in March, you'll definitely want to give yourself plenty of time to create your class pages. So February, January, we do say
Nice.
like December 15th. So we do have the most CDs and photos hitting us at that time. So it takes a little bit longer, but I think we ask to allow a week for us to get them uploaded for you.
Right. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.